Okay, so the first thing I'm going to give you is kind of a basic understanding of what is ClientLook. And I go through this every time we do this. We have so many people that join these that have never seen ClientLook or don't know what it is. So I want to give you just a 2-minute sort of background on what we do, where we came from, and where we're headed. So ClientLook, if you don't know already, is a industry-leading cloud-based all-in-one CRM solution. So what does all that mean? So first of all, let me tell you what a CRM means. So CRM is customer relationship management. It's a broad term for an application like ClientLook that helps you build customer relationships. And obviously, customer can mean a whole lot of things. What we strive to do within ClientLook is make our application a perfect fit for commercial real estate. Now, cloud-based, we're getting to the point where we almost don't have to say this anymore, but for a long time we did. Cloud-based compared to desktop-based. So for years and years, everybody revolved and relied upon applications and software that you installed on your computer. You got a disk, you had to download some way, you installed something onto your machine. And you would be responsible not only for maintaining that software and the fact that it didn't conflict with other stuff, but you also had your data on your computer. So ClientLook is this, well, it's almost not new anymore, but it's a genre of applications that exists solely in the cloud. So there's a lot of differences and a lot of big benefits for a cloud-based solution. One is that you don't have to be in the business of maintaining software anymore. It's entirely our responsibility. You get to ClientLook through a browser, through the internet. The internet is your pipe to access the application and to access all of your data. It's ClientLook's responsibility to keep your data secure, to keep it safe, to back it up, which we do every day. So that's what cloud-based means. So sorry if I took a little more time on that some of you might have needed, but for the sake of some newcomers, I wanted to set that background. So ClientLook was founded in 2009. We're not a startup anymore. We went through that phase. We came through it. We started ClientLook in probably the worst economic climate in our generation, certainly for real estate, and we persisted and we were successful. So we're doing great. Now, one of the big things that I'm going to keep hitting upon throughout the course of this presentation is the fact that ClientLook is a native commercial real estate app. And what does that mean? Well, CRM, customer relationship management, that's a generic term. There are lots of applications that you could use for CRM. What we claim, what we firmly believe, is that using an application that was designed specifically for commercial real estate makes all the difference in the world. So I got my start in this industry as a commercial real estate broker. Right out of college, I went into commercial real estate, probably like many of you, but I quickly migrated into technology. And years ago, I started an application, a company that was based around an old desktop CRM, or back in the day, we called it contact management, called ACT. And this program was called Aries for ACT. And so I had a CRM, commercial real estate CRM add-on company back in the day. And I sold it to CoStar, spent many years at CoStar, and then left to start ClientLook again. So I know the kind of the pitfalls of designing on top of an application. So when we designed ClientLook, we sought to do this natively. We built everything about ClientLook from the ground up. We're not an add-on. And I say that because the other most common applications for CRM in the world are Salesforce. So Salesforce is a generic customer relationship management tool that's tweaked by a handful of companies for commercial real estate. And we believe that that's a deficiency, in that the fact that ClientLook is built solely for this industry makes all the difference in the world. All right, so ClientLook, regardless of your specialty, regardless of the size of your application, works for you. Whether you're a single user, you're a team, you're an entire organization, everything about ClientLook is made to scale from the individual user and up. It's fully customizable, as you're going to see. So there's basically nothing about it that you can't, you can use it for any sort of application that you might come up with in your industries. So ClientLook has exploded over the last couple of years. We are in this slide is probably 30 days old. So We're probably in almost 1,800 cities now in 9 countries. It's amazing how rapidly we've grown, and we're very grateful for all the folks that have embraced ClientLook across the industry. And I'm excited to show you what we've got new here. Okay, so this is really important. What is so special about ClientLook? So you've got a lot of options. You've got a lot of technology options. You've got a lot of CRM options. What I'm trying to apply to you today through this demonstration is the differences that make ClientLook unique, the reasons why you should choose ClientLook over anything else. And here are some of the key reasons. So the first, I've hit upon this a couple of times now, is that ClientLook is designed solely for commercial real estate. We don't care about insurance sales or medical sales or trying to, throw in everything but the kitchen sink. We are laser focused on commercial real estate productivity. We are laser focused on helping commercial real estate professionals make more money, save time, and win business. So that's one of our first key differences. We take a very, very different approach than many other companies when it comes to our software design and the way in which we engage with our subscribers. We believe that every feature that we put into ClientLook should be essentially training free. Okay, gone are the days, as far as I'm concerned, where a business model for a software provider included, hey, we're going to sell this application, and then we're going to sell along with that thousands of dollars of either consulting services or, worse yet, training. And it's going to take weeks for companies to ramp up and get their heads around whatever solution that might be. We realize that your time is very, very valuable, and that time invested in training or any sort of learning is super costly. It dwarfs the cost of any investment that you might make in a technology tool. So we build ClientLook, as you're going to see, to be super simple, super easy. And that's not to say ClientLook is simplistic, because it's really hard to make things easy. We go to great lengths to try to make things as intuitive and understandable as possible, which I'm hoping you can appreciate. So along those lines, one of the other things that we realized a few years ago was that we are asking you as a CRM user to invest potentially hours a day in our application. The typical ClientLook user, launches ClientLook in the morning and closes it down at night. It's something that persists all day long. But the idea of asking, a very high wage earning, top producing commercial real estate professional to do data entry, to sit there and key in business cards or log the outcome of the meeting you just had, didn't sit well. So we elected to create a service that's a part of ClientLook. This is free, where we have a team of people who do data entry for you, from business cards to updates to new properties you want to enter to whatever it is that you could do in ClientLook. These people can do for you. You communicate with them via email, or you communicate with them via a voicemail. You give them your instructions and your requests. And this is tremendously differentiating for those people that are ClientLook users and embrace it. It's changed the way they work. So the other big thing that we like to embrace is this idea of integration. There are lots of technology tools out there, and one of the big problems with commercial real estate technology still is this redundancy, the fact that you enter data, the same data, time after time in multiple applications. So we're trying to eliminate as much of that as possible, which you're going to see in the demonstration here. But our goal, in sort of our responsibility as kind of the hub for so much information in your business, is to help you leverage that data in other applications. So know that that's a core part of our ongoing roadmap. So ClientLook also includes a very unique feature, which a lot of people don't associate with a CRM. But this is actually one of the ways that ClientLook was founded. So you're going to see examples of how you can use ClientLook to collaborate in real time with your clients. So why is this important? So everybody has a responsibility to communicate with their clients. The listing guys more than anybody. You have a listing, you have to report to your clients about your activity. That's a painful process. Well, ClientLook collects everything you do, as you're going to see, your phone calls, your activities, your files, your emails, And we provide this super simple way for your clients to log in and to see what you've done. And it's amazing to see how much content ClientLook can collect for you and how they appreciate the fact that you're doing all this stuff that they probably never understood before. Okay, here are the modules that we're going to go through now demo-wise. We're going to talk about contacts and properties and listings and deals and activities and then marketing. And then I'm going to give you a look at the mobile app that we released last month. So let's get rolling. Okay, so this is the context module. This is the foundation of ClientLook. These people are, the folks that you work with every day. So the big question here is always, how did these records get into ClientLook? How do I get started with ClientLook? So a couple of ways. The first of which is that you import. So you send to the virtual assistant team some spreadsheet that you have. So you export out of whatever CRM you're using. You export out of Outlook, or you just have a spreadsheet. You send it to the virtual assistant team. They electronically import all that for you. So this works whether you're a single user or whether you're a team. Okay, the second way is that you could simply click the big add a new contact button there in the upper right corner and add a new contact. This module, this context module, looks and feels the same as the companies module and the deals module and the properties module. They're all the same. So the idea with ClientLook is once you sort of master a skill, you know that in the upper right corner is this big add a new whatever button. You're going to be able to replicate that skill in anywhere you go. So you could manually enter a contact, which you'll do from time to time. The other way is, let's say that you get a stack of business cards. So you go to a meeting, you come out with some business cards, and you bring those back to the office. And if you're like most people, they sit on this stack in your corner of your desk for, who knows how long. Ideally, they make it into ClientLook, through your manual data entry. Worst case is, you lose them, or one way or another, they just fall through the cracks. So here's what the typical ClientLook user does with business cards. You come out of a meeting, you take your phone, you snap a photo of that business card, and you email it to the virtual assistant. You can even give them instructions. You can dictate the outcome of the meeting. You can tell them to put this in your prospects group or whatever. But the virtual assistant team then keys all that stuff in. You get an email to let you know it's done. Let you know that it's been completed. So one way or another, ClientLook is the easiest tool for collecting information, and you'll be amazed at how much stuff you collect over time. And then the trick is really how you use it. Okay, so let's move on. Oh, before I do that, let me show you one quick thing. So look down in the bottom right corner of the screen. You see this little kind of bubble there with that little smiley face with no eyes. Well, what that is a direct link to both our virtual assistant team and our support team. This is how you can communicate with them, both on our web app and in our mobile app, live, directly. So you're in the app, you have a question about, what's the best way to import contacts? I don't know. So you click that little button, you type in your question, and they will reply to you in ClientLook. The reply also generates an email, so you can get both. So it doesn't matter if you're logged in or you've left and you're on the road, but it also creates this kind of a, like a messaging system. You'll have a list of every other interaction that you've ever had with the team over time. So if they sent you a video of something that you want to go back and review, it's all here. So I just wanted you to know when you see that little kind of bubble strewn throughout this demo, you know what it is. Okay, so now let's jump into a contact record and talk about this a little bit. So now we've gone to a person. So this is Jessica Anderson. I want you to understand all the ways that you engage with somebody like this, all the pieces of information that you track. So down the left side of the page are all the standard stuff: phone number, email address, social networking links. There's a link to their LinkedIn profile page or Twitter page or whatever, address information. And then down kind of near the bottom, you see custom fields on the left there. You can create an unlimited number of custom fields in every module in ClientLook. So there's nothing that you can't track, at least data-wise. So ClientLook comes off the shelf, pre-configured with just about everything we think you might need. But in the case that we missed something or you want to change something, you can always do that. So when you see this list of phone numbers here, you can click an email address to send an email. You've got all the, kind of information you might need there at your fingertips. And then over to the right, you see the Updates tab. This is where you are meant to log what you do. Simply, when you speak to Jessica, when you have some sort of interaction, you type it in there. This is really important, and it's really easy, but it's transformative when it comes to the effect it will have on your business. So when you talk to somebody, simply type in the outcome of that call or whatever it is, so that in the future, even if it's years from now, you can pull it up and go, oh, right, we talked about investment opportunities in Oregon, whatever, back in December of 2015. You'll have that there. But so let me show you a little bit. If I scroll down here, you'll see more details shown in this Updates tab. So the Updates tab becomes your ongoing feed for everything you or anybody on your team is doing with this person. This includes things that get keyed in. So the question is, how does stuff get into the Updates tab? Just like how do we import contacts? You key it in. So at the top there, you saw how we could just type information. You could also phone in your update. So let's say that I just met with Jessica at her office, and now I'm racing to my next meeting in the car. I can call the virtual assistant voicemail service and say, hi, this is Michael Griffin. I just met with Jessica Anderson, and we talked about this and this and this. Schedule a follow-up call for me in 2 weeks and put her in my prospects group. So the virtual assistant will do that for you, access your account, key all that information for you virtually, send you an email when it's done. So that's really easy, really great. The other thing that you're going to find really valuable within ClientLook is the way in which it organizes all of your emails. So ClientLook users can send BCC emails to ClientLook and have them automatically connected to all the recipients. So here's how it works. So you'll notice in the middle of the page here, there's BCC or forward any context to this big long contact email address here. The email address, I clicked a little email me a V card. It becomes an address in my phone. It becomes an address in my Outlook. I do this once. And then in the future, I just BCC ClientLook. So the example is I'm in Outlook and I compose an email to Jessica or maybe, half a dozen different people. And I include some document. I BCC ClientLook. I send the email off. My recipients get the email. They don't know anything about the BCC, but the BCC directs the email to ClientLook. ClientLook then looks at that email, validates that it came from you and that it's legitimate, and then it will create an update in ClientLook, and it will connect it to all of the contacts based on the email address that you have in your account. So think about that. All of the attempts that you have made in the past to organize emails in folders or whatever you do, all of that goes away because now when you pull up a contact, you're going to have every email that you ever sent or received from these people in their contact record, including all the attachments. All right, let's jump on to activities now. This is future stuff. So here's another really sort of CRM, 101 tip. But again, transformative in the way that affects your business because it's so easy. With every contact that you have in ClientLook, attempt to schedule the next thing with them so that you simply show up every day and you're on autopilot. You're just doing what the system is telling you to do based on your own directives. So, and it could be as simple as I'm going to call Jessica in a year to wish her a happy birthday, or I'm going to send an email with my quarterly marketing report, in the third quarter, later this year, whatever it is. But the point is you don't want to have to be mining your database, looking for context to call. You just want to show up, and as I'm showing you in your calendar here, your ClientLook's just going to tell you, here's what you're supposed to do today, and you just follow the bouncing ball day after day after day, and it's super easy and really powerful. So you can see here you can schedule events, which are activities with times. I'm going to meet with Jessica at noon tomorrow for lunch, or a task. I have to follow up next Thursday. But again, these could be years out in the future. Okay, properties. So one of the things that we aspire to help you with in ClientLook is not only to develop relationships with people, but to develop relationships with properties, regardless of what your specialty is. Because understanding where the fit exists between those people and those properties is how you make money. So ClientLook has a property module, which we'll get to next here. But This tab tells us the properties that exist in ClientLook that you've related Jessica to. So of the 10,000 buildings in ClientLook, she has a relationship with 3 of these. And if you look on the column to the right there, you see the relationship. She's a tenant of one, she's a prospect for another, and a tenant of a third there. It doesn't matter. The relationship column there, it comes pre-configured, but you can customize it to be whatever you want. The goal is when you pull up a contact, whether they're a tenant, an owner, an investor, or whatever, you can instantly see the relationships they have with properties and speak very intelligently about those relationships as if, you're just carrying this stuff around in your head all day long. And in the same way, if she identifies, hey, I have a new relationship with some property, and obviously she doesn't say it that way, but we just leased another space, or I'm interested in a property, or I bought something, or I sold something, you can instantly relate this person to a new property. And here's how that works. So I click this relate a property button, and I get this little pop-up, okay? And it asks me simply for the address of the property that I'm looking for. So I type in this address, and what it does is it does a search, finds the property in ClientLook, and shows it to me there. So now it's going to ask me, well, what are the relationships that I want to indicate between this property and the contact? So I click that and I get a little pop-up. These are the pre-configured ones. Jessica is an appraiser for this property, or an owner, or a past owner, or whatever. But in this case, I'm going to choose tenant. When I do so, I get a handful of fields which are part of this new tenant tracking system that we implemented late last year. So if you care about tenants, you appreciate this part. So here's where you indicate the suite, the floor, the amount of space that this company occupies at that address, and the lease expiration. Okay. So if this isn't a tenant, you're gonna indicate the relationship is an owner or a past owner or whatever. And you can have multiple relationships. If somebody has, I don't know, a variety of different relationships with one property, you can label that there. But I'm going to choose, some values there for the suite, the floor, et cetera. And then I'm going to click save. Oh, and by the way, all of these relationships that you create between people and properties can be privatized or shared in special ways. So this applies if you're in a multi-user database. One of the things that's really unique to ClientLook is the way in which we let you privatize information that's totally unique to our business. Okay, so we're done there. So we've now related her to 123 Live Oak Avenue. You see that first property there in the list, and it becomes now one of 4 properties that she is associated with. Okay, so deals. We're going to talk about deals here too in a minute, but deals are transactions. Any sort of assignment that you might have, ClientLook does an amazing job of helping you collect everything you do for a deal. And these are the deals simply that Jessica is involved with in some way. And you'll see there's a column there in the middle, relationship. So it allows you to identify, well, what is the relationship that she has with 168 East Gale Avenue? She's a prospect of this. So the deals are very flexible. They can be used in all kinds of different ways, regardless of your specialty. But this is the short list of deals that this person is involved with. Marketing. We're going to talk about the email integration here that we have in a minute, but this tab tells us the engagement stats for Jessica based on everything that I've sent her in the past. So overall, it tells us that she's been sent 15 campaigns. She has a 7% open rate and a 7% click rate. And if I were to scroll down the page there, I could see the links she clicked and the things that she opened and the things that she didn't open. And as you're going to see, what our goal here is to help you have a clearer picture of demand or interests for this contact based on their engagement with the emails that you send. And lastly here, groups. Groups is a very flexible way for you to subdivide big giant lists. Let's say I have 10,000 contacts, but I want to create smaller segments for my top prospects or holiday card recipients. Those are what we call groups, and you can put people into any groups that you want. So these are the list of the 4 groups that Jessica is involved with. And as you might guess, that big edit group membership button is what you click to put her into different groups, remove her association with these groups. So again, a training-free experience. Hopefully that you saw that and understood kind of how that all worked. Okay, that was contacts. Those were people. And now let's talk about properties. So again, as I said before, ClientLook is trying to help you, create relationships with people and with properties. So the property module is where you keep the properties that you care about. This isn't a research system. This isn't meant to be every property in the market. These are the buildings that, for whatever reason, you want to maintain. Now, here's one big takeaway that I'm hoping you'll leave this discussion today with, which, especially based on the recent occurrences in the technology landscape in the market. This year, more than ever, it is critical for you to adopt a strategy to help you to inventory the data that's important to your business, to not fully trust other companies, third-party companies, data providers with that information. That's not to say you can't use third-party research systems. They're great. It's just that the property information, the contact information, your own listing data, as you're going to see, you have to start keeping track of this internally. If you're not doing that now, you're setting yourself up to for failure in many respects, technologically speaking. You're vulnerable. So the properties module is a way for you to take control of the properties that you like. Okay, so how do these properties get here? So you manually enter these properties. You import them from some service that that allows you to import data in this way. You send something to the virtual assistant and they key the information in. But one way or another, you've got this this inventory of properties. And if you see the new this little pop up there in the upper right, actually, I will tell you about one integration here. So manually add properties, how you manually add. If you choose add from provider, we currently have a link to build out here. So if you have entered a property into build out, you can type an address in, it'll pull that property information down, again, to avoid redundant data entry. If you've entered a property, you shouldn't have to re-enter that again. But so let's jump now into a property record, and I'll show you how this kind of differs from a contact record. In many respects, it's the same. You've got these tabs down at the bottom and lots of information. But remember, this is your data. This is data that you're meant to come in and customize and that's meant to evolve over time. This is also where we've got some integration aspects. In the upper right corner there, you see that RPR. If you're a realtor, you have access to this free tool as a realtor benefit that provides demographic information and all kinds of cool flood map in retailer void analysis, all kinds of really cool reports. You'll see the three little drop downs there that let you drive that. In the bottom right corner there, you see the Analyst Pro, Todd Kuhlman's application, which is really great for additional reporting, risk analysis, financial analysis, lease analysis. So we click a button there and it will use the address information, some other data from the property record to short circuit the production of those reports. And as we scroll down, you'll see more information related to property data, attributes, land. There's even financials if you want to track income, expense, and NOI. You can do that all within this section. There's even a custom field tab there for, again, your own custom fields, just like you did within contacts. Okay, so let's jump over to updates now. So some of the information that you want to track with a property is not field-based. It's not a square footage or a zoning or whatever. It's text. So here's where, and you see the example, I read in the Business Journal that the Kohl Center may be undergoing a major renovation later this year. This is the kind of stuff that you want to get out of your head and you want to get into some system that allows you then to easily retrieve it. So this is where notes live. You can also add updates to other records, add an update to a contact like Jessica's record, and you can link it back to this property. Basically, everything in ClientLook can be linked together. And I'll show you an example of that in a few minutes. But this is where anything related to that property, update-wise, would appear. Same thing is true with activities. So here are events and tasks related to this property tours, open house. You're going to send a marketing blast for a property, whatever it is. This is where you would see that here. You'd see who is assigned to it and the priority of that activity. Availability. So this is another one of those things where it's super critical you get your arms around how are you simply maintaining a list of your own availability if you're a listing company. the spaces that you have for lease, the properties that you're selling. When does the lease agreement or the listing agreement start? When does it expire? What's the current price? All that sort of stuff. You keep that in ClientLook. And the listing and the property information integrates. So when I pull up a property, I can see all the availability for that property, suite by suite, floor by floor, shown here. And if I want to add a listing, as you might guess, there's a big add a listing button there in the upper right. I click that, I fill out the fields, and away you go. The Files tab is a permanent, long-term digital storage place for you. And this involves some rethinking for some people. So most of you are going to have, if you've dealt with property in the past in some way, you've got a big, thick file related to all kinds of stuff. So two things that I would suggest to you. Number one, when it comes to ongoing output in the future, think whether or not you should be printing something or not. If it's a PDF, keep it electronic. But secondly, that sort of thought process only works if you have a place to put it. So the ClientLook property becomes that place. So this is where you're going to store everything digital, every report, every site analysis, whatever you want, comp report that you want, and it shows up here. Then there are filters, because this could get lengthy over time, where you can find files that have a specific category, and the categories are customizable. But you see, we have things like, just show me the reports, just show me the aerials, just show me the demographics, whatever. So it'll short circuit that. But this is important, and this helps you scale your business in a way, that's extensible, in the sense that if you add more people, they can access this information as well. Images are sort of, same sort of thing as sort of files, and that this is your digital image library. We think for some reason, photographs are something that we should be, that should be digitized and more easily transferable than documents. But there's no reason why we can't do both. There's no reason to print a photo these days. Just like, in my opinion, there's very little reason to print a document, unless it's a signed agreement and you need to keep, this sort of original around. Okay, people. So you remember when we were on Jessica's record, and we said, okay, here's Jessica, here's the properties tab. Here are the 4 properties that she's related to. This works sort of the same way, but in reverse. So now we're on the property record, and we go to the people tab. Simple. And these are the 4 people in this example that are related to this property. And as I look down the relationship column, you can see I have 1 tenant and I have 3 owners. And you'll notice that one of the owners is designated the primary owner. So you can have all kinds of owners, but we allow you to designate one as kind of the main person. So if you had to contact, somebody about this property, who would it be? But over time, this fills up with tenants. If you're, a tenant rep office guy, you could have 250 names here, and it's all, very simply linked, so that when you come to this people tab, you have basically a stacking plan, suite by suite, floor by floor, square footage, lease expirations, link to phone numbers, email addresses. So then you click any of those records, and you're back in that context record. All right, these are the deals that would have been related to this property over time, and then marketing. If we send emails, we can relate these to properties. And then lastly, groups. Just like with contacts, we can create groups of properties. So I have a big giant property list, and I want to whittle it down to property, segments, submarkets, whatever. I can do that with groups. Okay, so we talked about contacts, we talked about properties. Now let's talk about listings. So for those of you who have listings, this is the easiest way to track listing data. And as I mentioned, it is critical in 2018 that you adopt a strategy to take control of your listings. It's fine to be marketing those everywhere and anywhere, but you need to have a consolidated list of that availability. Who represents what, how much industrial space do we have, how much office space, et cetera, in a concise place. So that's what this piece of ClientLook is meant to fulfill for those of you who have listings. So this is the list of listings. And it works just like every other module. In the upper right corner, there's a big add a new listing button. It's going to walk you through how you add a lease listing, a sale listing. But let me see. Oh, yeah, here's an example. So when you add a listing, you're going to relate it to a property. So this is part of ClientLook's attempt to stitch everything up together for you, so that when you go to that property record, you're going to see the availability. And it reduces the amount of redundancy, because if you've entered a property record, now you want to add a listing, there's no reason to rekey all of the information for that property again in the listing. So ClientLook allows you to leverage all that information that you've already entered. Okay, let's jump down now into a listing, and I'll just run you through the simple components of this. So this is a lease listing. You see the photograph and the information availability at the top, amount of space, lease rate. So it doesn't matter whether you're monthly or annual or whatever part of the market or country you might be in. This is the spaces. So this is an example of a multi-tenant for lease opportunity. So you see the various spaces there, the floors and the suites. This is the detailed property information. So this is just pulling information from the property that you've linked to this listing. Okay, so again, there's no data re-entry. There's very little redundancy. And these are the people, typically the people internally that are representing this property. Now, one thing to know, the ClientLook listing module is not meant as, I'm going to track every listing in my market. This is meant as a corporate, as a company listing management system. So rely on those third-party tools for the availability elsewhere. Use this to track your own availability. And then track the deals related to your listings. And again, the files related to, just like with a property, the images. And then publish. So this is a growing list of companies here that you can publish information to. Right now we have integration with BuildOut. So if you're using BuildOut, you've keyed all this listing information to ClientLook, you put your photo in, you've got all your property data. And of course, you don't want to re-key that information in BuildOut to create your marketing tools. So what do? You just check that little publish box over there on the left, and ClientLook instantly sends this information over to BuildOut, and then any changes that you make in ClientLook will be replicated there as well. So ClientLook becomes, again, this hub of data, and you use it to drive your activity and the benefits, frankly, of other tools. All right, now let's talk about deals. So you've got your contacts, you're building relationships, you've got your properties, and you got an assignment, whether it's a tenant rep assignment or a landlord rep assignment, or you're selling a building. Deals are what we use to help you manage all the information related to that transaction. And again, with as little redundancy as possible. And I'll show you how this works. So this is the list of deals. So this also serves as your pipeline. Your pipeline, the company's pipeline. Here you're going to put, the value of the deal, the stage that it's at, when it's going to close, the probability. All this stuff is customizable, but this helps you to understand and keep your eye on the ball. What things do I have closing this quarter or this year? And if you're a multi-user account, you can look at just deals related to a specific user or team or whatever. But that's this view. So you click into one of these, and you see the details. So I've got a map here. This is a list. We're selling a building, a disposition. You see the client information. You see details related to the updates. So here's the really cool thing about updates within deals. So each deal has its own email address. So you have a common email address that you use for contacts in ClientLook, but you'll be assigned an email address for every deal. And you'll see that right in the middle there, project email, .215, etc. So you click the little email me a V card on the right corner there, and it inserts this deal into your address book and your phone and into Outlook. So in the future, any email that you send, you BCC the deal by name, 1629 Covington. So what does this do? So I'm on my phone and I want to send an email to somebody about something. So I compose this email. Then I think to myself, does this have anything to do with the deal? And if you think about it, almost every email that you send, unless it's just purely prospecting, has something to do with some assignment, some deal that you're working on. And your big challenge is organizing all of that deal-related correspondence. So I'm on my phone. I compose my email to however many people I want. I BCC 1629 Covington. I send the email. So here's what ClientLook does with that email. It creates an update. Okay, the note that's going to appear in ClientLook, and it relates it to the deal, 1629 Covington. It also relates it to all of the people that it found in the email. So with one little BCC, you've done two things. You've now connected that email to every contact, because I want to pull up George Adams and see that I've sent him an email. But I've also put that email into my electronic deal file. So this is where ClientLook really makes obsolete all those folders that you keep in Outlook or, Gmail or whatever you might be using. Okay, I did that back when I was a broker. You had these folders and you were dragging stuff all over because you needed to organize emails around a project, a deal, an assignment, some common theme. ClientLook does that all for you, and it's seamless. And it works with emails that you send. It works with emails that you receive because you can forward them. It's great. But so what happens is now I can come to this updates tab, and I can see every phone call that I've had in regards to this deal, every email that I've sent or received. It's all here. So let's jump now to activities for a deal. So when you schedule activities, you can relate them to a deal, as I'll show you in a second. But the idea is that I pull up a deal and I can see everything that's going to be done, whether it's going to be done by me or someone on my team for this deal. So this might be a list of contingencies for a sale. This might be our marketing plan. And these are things that are, again, are assigned to other users, ClientLook users on my team, but I have the roll up here of all of the future stuff that is pending. People. So people can be related to deals just like they can be related to a property. So what people would you relate to a deal? Well, I would relate to my deal, my client. I would relate any prospects, people I've talked to. I might relate, I don't know, an attorney or someone involved with escrow or whatever, so that I have a concise list, because I have 10,000 contacts, a concise list of people that have something to do with this deal. Now, here's one of the very special features in ClientLook. When I add somebody, when I relate somebody to a deal, I'm able to indicate that I want them to be able to log into this deal externally. They don't have to be a ClientLook user. There's no cost in this. But think about what this implies. Now, the ClientLook user who goes and pitches a listing, as an example, says to his prospective client, instead of providing you that monthly spreadsheet of our marketing activity, or, hey, I'm going to take you out to lunch every month and tell you everything that's going on, you're going to have electronic access into my deal. Real-time, self-serve sort of access, so that you can pull up and see anything that's going on with this deal anytime you want. Now, a couple of things to be aware of. Number one is that you have complete control over what that client views within this deal. Half of what you contribute here, you may not want them to see. Half you will. So you control that, okay? Number two, you may have clients that just aren't technically adaptive, will never log in. So you have two options for them. Number one, you can use ClientLook as I'm describing, let it roll up all of your deal activity, and use a standard report that we have built into the system that you can hand deliver or fax it if you want to. It's a spreadsheet, but it will outline everything that you've done. We also just implemented a new feature where you can pull up your list of deals and you can say, I want to send an email to every one of my clients that's associated with any of my 50 deals. And in that email, there's a single button that says, click here to get access to my updates. They get this email, they click the button, and bam, they are in their own little mini light version of ClientLook, looking at your content. So you're able to sort of drive their, access to this information. Regardless, the most fundamental thing you can do with ClientLook is to use it to track your deal activity. How you then convey it to your client is entirely up to you. Okay, marketing. We sent emails, we've related them to this deal so I can see of all the campaigns we sent, kind of the outcome of each of those. And then groups, we've got lots of deals we're working on, so I can, again, subdivide those and I can put this deal into various groups. Okay, let's talk about updates, activities. I keep referring to this idea of, hey, you can add an update and you can link it to a deal. You can link it to a property or so let me show you an example of how that works and how easy it is. So here we are on the contact list. I'm going to go into a contacts record here, and we're going to log an update for this person, and we're going to take advantage of some of the more advanced features. So I meet with George. I speak to George, and I want to log what I've done, but I want to add some other context to it, and then I want to relate it to some other records in ClientLook. So I click this little Show Update Options link in the bottom left corner, and it expands this screen. You don't have to do this every time. Most of the time you're just going to type in, I spoke to George, and I'm going to follow up in 2 weeks, save, and you're done. This is for the cases where you want to make some more relationships with this update. So when I do that, you see that the update is related to George in related contacts, and it's related to me, Michael Griffin, the user. So as you might expect, I can simply type in here and relate it to other people. So George's real estate director came. I want to add him to this update. The CFO attended. I wanted to add him. And the benefit is then that when I go to their records, I will see this update appear in their records as well. But down below, you see related deals and related properties. This is where I can connect this update to one or more deals and one or more properties. So if I call George about a listing that I have, I can relate to this update to that listing. And then bam, this update will appear in that deal. Okay, same thing is true with the property. So let me add some quick content here. And you see, I spoke to George about the deal. He wants to make an offer. We agreed to meet on Tuesday. I've linked it to 1629 Covington. So now if I go to that deal, I will see this same update. You see how easy this is to make these, these connections between records. So I click save, and then you see it down here below, whoops, in the notes section. That's how easy it is to connect stuff together in ClientLook, and one of the real big advantages and really unique parts of the way that we work. And again, this is something that's so commercial real estate focused. That's really fun to see how it all kind of stitches together. I just want to show you here real quick your activities module. This is where you'll come every day to see what you have scheduled. Your events will appear here. Your tasks will appear here. You can print them if you want to, or most of the time you just run from this electronic list, and like I said before, just do what the system tells you. Okay, let me touch on Scoop, which is a really unique feature of ClientLook. So you, your team, your company, you're doing all kinds of stuff in ClientLook every day, all day. And you're contributing emails and updates and completed activities and files and whatever else. So Scoop is a roll-up, an activity feed of all of that information. By default, when I come to Scoop, I see everything I've done. So this is my breadcrumb trail through my activity back from when I started using ClientLook. Day by day, hour by hour, I can see who I've called, what I've done, who I've met with, emails I've received. It's all here. So you kind of get the idea of how you can personally benefit from this. But if I come up to updates here, I can look at this for any user in my company, provided that those users have shared this information. So again, there's all kinds of cool sharing things you can do to privatize stuff. Or I can look at all users. I can look at my entire company's worth of contributions to ClientLook. So I do this every day. I go through ClientLook and I look at everything that all employees across the country for ClientLook have contributed. I can see the people that we've spoken to on the sales side, on the support side. It's all here. It beats having to trade emails with everybody about what are you doing, or it beats having to meet with people. So this is a short circuit to communication within your company, and it's a complement to the way you work, and it really gets rid of a lot of redundant communication that you'd otherwise have to do to stay on top of this stuff. Okay, I want to show you marketing here, then I'm going to touch on our mobile app. So you've seen a couple of places where we talked about email marketing. I want to show you an example of how ClientLook's integration with MailChimp works. So if you've never heard of MailChimp, it's one of a handful of email marketing tools. We embraced MailChimp a year or two ago for a couple of reasons. One, it had a really good API, which allows us to programmatically communicate with it. But secondly, because they offer a free option, which for a lot of ClientLook subscribers works. So we get nothing from MailChimp for telling you about this. So don't think there's any sort of ulterior motive or any benefit for ClientLook to doing this. It just is a great solution. So let me show you how it works. So in ClientLook, you've got a list of people. Typically, in your email system, you've also got a list of people. And the problem is the lists get out of sync. And again, redundancy, right? You've got the same information in multiple places. So one of the fundamental things that we're trying to solve here is that we want you to be able to use ClientLook as the, your source of truth. These are my list of people. And then we push that information over to the email system, in this case, again, MailChimp. So that's the first big problem that we're trying to solve. The second big thing that we're trying to solve for this is you send these emails in a very reactive way. It's kind of the shotgun method of marketing. You send all this stuff out and then you wait for someone to contact you. But there's lots of valuable insight to glean from the marketing campaigns that you send. You just don't have access to it. You don't really know who's engaged with your emails, who's opened it 22 times, who's forwarded, who's clicked on the links. You don't know that unless you run some reports in the email system, and then it's just some, spreadsheet. So we sought to kind of stitch those features up within ClientLook. So here's how it works. You do a search in ClientLook. You use all the fantastic tools we have here for show me tenants with leases expiring before the end of the year that are in buildings on the west side, whatever it is. Then I come under options and I choose send MailChimp email. So up comes this list of campaigns that I have. I choose one. In this page, simply I compose what's the subject of my email, who do I want it to be from me, from the Griffin team, or whatever it is. Down below, I can relate it to deals, relate it to properties, even specify some Google Analytics. And send options, I can send it now, I can schedule it, but one way or another, I send it. Okay. So now here we are in the marketing tab of ClientLook. You see up at the top, marketing. This lists for us all the campaigns that we've sent in the past. And this is a live bridge into MailChimp. And it updates real time every time we load this list to tell us, what's the open percentage, the click percentage, how many people did we send to. So I click into one of these campaigns. And here's what I see. 186 recipients. If I go down, I got 4 opens. I got a 16% open rate. So these are the details of the campaign. One of the more important aspects of this is the people tab, where I can see in this little menu here. If I click the menu, it's going to show me, who clicked, who bounced, who unsubscribed, whatever. But fundamentally, it's going to show me who opened this, right? So I see this list of people here. So now I instantly know who opened it. I can sort it by opens or sort it by clicks. So I can quickly understand who the most likely prospects based on their engagement with this email are. So let's look at a contact record again. And Jessica, like we looked at before. So you see here, she's been sent 15 campaigns, 7% open rate, 7% click rate. So this is read live because we've sent these emails through ClientLook. It pulls the data down from MailChimp and it shows us the data when we pull up her record. So now I know, okay, these south side emails are falling flat with her, but look, she's opening the west side ones. Again, it's solely meant to provide you more insight into the marketing that you're doing and spending a lot of time doing and helping you to understand who to prioritize based on all the people who are getting your stuff. Okay, ClientLook mobile app. So let me preface this by saying ClientLook has always been and remains completely accessible through a browser on any mobile device. Any phone, any tablet, you can go to a browser in those devices, and ClientLook works exactly like it does in the web on those browsers. So in that respect, ClientLook is and always will be mobile in that respect. We undertook over the last year, though, to create a native iPhone app, an app that you get through the iPhone App Store. And we'll be rolling out, an Android one this year. But here's what it looks like. It's super slick. It's super cool. I use this every day, and it's awesome. It has even more greatly simplified our workflow and even helped us to think different ways about the way that people engage with our data. We've gotten rave reviews about this. If you haven't already downloaded this, go ahead and try it. Here's the really cool thing about it. We made this app to be used not only by you, but also by your clients. So remember when I talked about this distinguishing, differentiating aspect of ClientLook, where you can say, hey, prospective client, look, you can log in and access what we're doing on our deals anytime. They can also use this app. It's free. They download ClientLook. They get their own account that you have set up for them just by adding them to a deal. ClientLook does all the kind of correspondence, and they're in. But this is everything ClientLook does in your pocket. And some of the cool features are auto dialing. So I click a phone number and it auto dials and then it prompts me to enter the note. I can dictate a note using my iPhone's voice dictation services. It's all the properties. It's every tenant associated to all those properties, all my deals. It's scoops so that I can scroll through everything that I've done or my team has done. I can make notes. I can add comments. There's even a special link here to the virtual assistant team so I can engage with them through the app as well. So if you haven't already downloaded this, check it out. It's really fun. Okay, with all that said, I'm going to touch on this pricing page and then we're going to get to questions and we're going to wrap up here. So the one unique thing that we do with CCIM is we offer a special pricing deal. So if you are a CCIM, you have the option of the following special rates over there on the right. $69 for annual subscription. That's $69 paid upfront, so it's $828 a year, or $76 on a month-to-month rate. You can subscribe to ClientLook month-to-month. No long-term commitments. As far as we're concerned, we have to earn your business every single month, and that $76 per month rate is the best rate that we have out there. If you're not a ClientLook subscriber yet, you want to try the 21-day free trial today. Go to ClientLook.com, sign up for a free trial. There's no obligation. You don't need a credit card. You can try and do everything I've shown you, including the mobile app. So go and check that out. In addition, we do sales, customized sales demos all day long for people. So if you're interested in a personal demo, send an email to sales@clientlook.com. and they will customize a demo based on your specialty and the other tools you use and your geography and everything to help you understand very quickly, how ClientLook could benefit your business. Okay, Chuck, with all that said, what questions have we got that I might need to answer?
All right. I know you covered it, but it's been asked a bunch of times. How much does the virtual assistant cost?
The virtual assistant is free. So the virtual assistant is a part of our service. So as a subscriber, you get access to it, and there's no cost.
Excellent. Is there a limit to the amount of storage space on ClientLook?
No. So we get that a lot too. So no, you're not metered. There's no concern you need to have for, this file's too big or I'm getting close to my limit. There is no limit. So feel free to embrace, the cloud and ClientLook fully and put whatever you want up there.
Great. Please provide some more details about the new to business subscription. We've gotten a few questions about that.
So we do, right? So we do have that you see that third rate there. I should have explained it. The $0 per user new to the business special pricing rate. This is actually not exclusive to CCIM. It's something we do with anybody. If you are a new broker, meaning you are someone who has been in the business for 6 months or less, we will give ClientLook to you for free for 6 months. So it's part of our way. Having come from the industry, we know how new people suffer, economically, and we're not gonna go and ask for a big commitment for ClientLook, but we want to help the business. So you not only get it free for 6 months, but you also get a reduced rate going forward. So this is also important for business owners who are intending to hire people. So if you're using ClientLook as your platform, know that any new agents, new brokers that you bring into the business can use ClientLook for free during their sort of, vetting period. And we will fully support them, and we're really great at helping new people.
Great. And then the last thing, of course, we've got the pricing up there on the website, but explain to them how they would get that special subscription rate. Our sign-up page on the site only has the standard rates.
Right. So if you want to get this special rate, you need to contact us. So send an email to sales@clientlook.com. That's the simplest way, because we don't advertise this rate on our website. You can't go to clientlook.com and find the special CCIM pricing page. So just send an email to sales@clientlook.com, and we'll direct you.
That was it on our end.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I went over by 2 minutes, but hopefully I covered everything you were interested in. Again, sign up for the free trial if you're not a user. Take advantage of all these features. If you are a user, watch for the video that we're going to send out, and contact us if we can give you a demo or even training. If you're already a user, we're happy to do that. Thank you, everybody. Again, Happy New Year. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for joining us.